Hey guys, well, talk of the DJI Mini 3 drone has certainly sparked some very interesting chatter since I released a video on the topic a little while back. In the video, I talk about what features I thought were most likely to be in the update to the Mini 2 drone, and you guys fired back with a whole lot more suggestions. So in this video, I'm going to cover off what you want in the Mini 3, and there are a whole bunch, so don't go away. Let's get straight into it because we've got a lot to cover. But do make sure you stick around until the end because I'll share the results of a poll where you voted your most requested Mini 3 feature. Plus, if you're wanting to use your Mini 2 drone to take some awesome action shots or banger Instagram photos, I'll point you in the right direction and get you started on the fast track to doing just that. So into your wish list, and no surprises here, but first up on your list was Active Track, or at least some sort of tracking feature. This gives you the ability to lock onto an object like you, and then you get on and do your business, whatever that may be, and have the drone autonomously follow and film you at the same time. Now this came up time and time again, but then this sparked a debate amongst many viewers in my comments section about why people wanted it, and we'll cover that soon. Next was some form of obstacle avoidance sensors, with sensors in the front being the most requested. Get rid of the blinking light and put in a sensor, people were saying. Well, I'm not sure it's that easy, but anyway, obstacle avoidance please was the call. If you like taking your drone through tight spaces to get those cool shots, or you're just crap at flying your drone, then you definitely want some sort of obstacle avoidance ability. But then again, like the requests for Active Track, there were just as many people saying they didn't want it as did want it, and we'll talk about that soon. Next on the list was a bigger sensor, and without getting too greedy, people were saying that maybe a 1/2 inch sensor might not be out of the question. Having said that, then that would be the same as the Mavic Air 2, and perhaps the owners of that drone wouldn't be too happy. Now, a bigger sensor would give the drone much better ability in low light, and given that a lot of people are using the Mini 2 to capture photos, many people, and I mean a lot, said that they would rather have a bigger sensor than having optical avoidance. And to be perfectly honest with you, I kind of agree. I know I've been banging on about Active Track and obstacle avoidance and all of that, but you know what? I'm careful with the drone. I'm not flying through objects and close to things. I get it up there, grab some snaps, bring it down. I don't really need obstacle avoidance. And as cool as it would be to have the drone follow me when I'm on a bike, I don't really need it to because that's not what I use it for. It's one of those features we see in the launch video and go, hey, that's cool, but actually hardly ever use it. I think it might be one of those trade-offs we have to be careful about because if we get that, then we lose something else, probably. Anyway, the next request was for better resolution, which would come with a bigger sensor, but even on this, people were pretty realistic. The ability to capture 4K 60 frames per second was only mentioned a couple of times, although more zoom capability in 4K was requested quite a bit. Add to that, a D-Log picture profile for video was mentioned on a number of people's wish lists, which would give you the flexibility to do more color grading in post-production. To most people, it doesn't seem like that would be too difficult to add. Now, as more and more people are getting into drone photography with their Mini 2, there were heaps of calls for an extension to the automatic exposure bracketing or AEB feature. Currently, the Mini 2 takes 3 images in this function, an underexposed image, an overexposed image, and a normally exposed image, allowing you to combine all 3 images in your photo editing software and then really bring out more detail in the image. People are asking for an AEB option that takes 5 or even up to 7 shots, allowing the capture of even more detail in the shadows and highlights and giving you the ability to stitch those together and create even richer images. Now, I actually hadn't thought of that one and I really like the idea. Now, related to Active Track was adding some more intelligent flight modes. In particular, people were very keen on the Spotlight feature seen in some of the more recent drones. In Spotlight mode, the drone keeps the selected object in the middle of the screen even if the object is moving. The drone itself doesn't move automatically, it only yaws and tilts the gimbal automatically, but you can also move the drone by yourself and it still keeps the selected object in the middle. It's a pretty cool feature, and related to this was the ability to add some manual controls during the quick shots that it currently has, including the ability to control the speed and distance with the sticks while it stays locked on the target. Now, for those of you aware of the most recent firmware update for the Mini 2, when the drone is in return to home mode, you now have the ability to control the movement of the drone and gimbal, which means when it's in return to home mode, you know it's flying straight back to you, but it leaves you free to manipulate the drone to focus on subjects and get some very cool cinematic shots. So maybe that's a topic for another video, so keep watching this space. Now, also software related, but gaining more and more requests, is the ability to add waypoints. For those of you not familiar with waypoints, the Reader's Digest version is that you set a path that you want the drone to fly by setting points along that path, in other words, waypoints. Once you initiate this, the drone automatically flies that path, leaving you free to manipulate the way the drone is facing and the gimbal, allowing you to get some cinematic shots much more easily without having to control the direction of the drone at the same time. Similar to that hack I just mentioned about the return to home feature, but it's not just in a straight line. You can create a path with the different directions. Okay, next up, and this is a biggie, is the ability to film a hyperlapse with the drone. Now this is available on the larger and newer drones like the Air 2S and others, but not available on the Mini 2. A hyperlapse is best described as a moving time lapse. Now you can do it on the Mini 2, sort of, manually, and then faffing about stitching a lot of stuff together, but we just want a set and forget function now, don't we? Assuming the Mini 3 has at least the same battery life as the Mini 2, there's plenty of petrol in the tank for the drone to stay airborne long enough to capture enough footage for the hyperlapse, so that's something we'd really like to see. And now for a list of more things that were requested, but actually way down the priority list, proving once and for all that we Mini 2 lovers and Mini 3 hopefuls are not greedy people. First up was a feature now in the Air 2S and DJI FPV, but didn't get a lot of votes, and that's OcuSync 3, or O3 as it's now known. Pretty much everyone was saying OcuSync 2 is good enough, a 10-kilometer range is more than we'd ever use, and the only benefit to us of O3 would be a stronger signal in areas with a lot of interference. But mostly it was thanks, but no thanks. Next was the inclusion of AirSense, which is an ADS-B feature that can detect other nearby airplanes, helicopters and drones that are also ADS-B capable. The Mavic Air 2 was the first DJI consumer drone equipped with the AirSense technology, but it looks like it's been included with most new drones from now on. But whether that applies to the Mini series, we're yet to see. Another item on the wish list was DJI goggle compatibility with the inclusion of an FPV mode. Now, I think this is a bit of a stretch and that DJI are likely to keep this functionality for its larger drones, plus who knows what technology is required in the drone to make that happen. It may need a much more powerful processor for all we know. Probably seems like it's one for the too hard basket to be able to make that happen. Anyway, it's a request that's out there, not a strong one, but out there nonetheless. On the subject of battery life and flight time, there are a few calls for longer flight time, but to me, it's almost like drone manufacturers have sort of kind of hit the wall when it comes to the battery life and flight time, with most of them topping out around 30 to 34 minutes. It'll be interesting to see if this one gets a boost, but to be honest with you, it's just not that high on my list. I mean, 30 minutes is a long time to have your drone up there, and if people want more so they can fly their drone further away before having to turn around and bring it back, I kind of think that's not what they should be doing anyway. Plus, like the vast majority of people that buy these drones, I got the Fly More combo, so you have 3 batteries instead of just the one that comes with the standard drone. So actually, it's more than enough, I reckon. Hence, I guess why that request was way down the list. Now, there was quite some chatter about the controller, actually. Mainly about it being too big, bigger in fact than the drone, and that it should be smaller so it's in line with the whole compactability nature of the Mini series of drones. There were some calls to have the Mini 3 compatible with a DJI Smart controller for those people that probably have multiple drones and want to use just one controller. If it doesn't add any cost, then cool, but I don't think there are too many Mini 2 or Mini 3 users that would want to pay an extra for that feature just because we're unlikely to actually use it. As far as accessories go, there was a number of people asking for a night light on the bottom of the drone. In some cases, people wanted this so they could add an airdrop to the drone. Now, that's all sounding a bit not quite what it was designed to do, but hey, there you go. A strobe light on the top is not a bad idea if possible. I got a stick-on one, link in the description below, as someone suggested that it helps keep the birds away from the drone, and I must admit that it has actually helped a lot. And then last but certainly not least is that people want all or any improvements in the Mini series on the proviso that the drone still stays under 250 grams. So DJI, in case you were wondering if people were willing to compromise on that, the answer is no. It must stay under that crucial weight limit of 250 grams. And now for the results of the poll. I'll cut straight to the result. The most requested feature of the DJI Mini 3 as voted by you, the viewers of this channel, was obstacle avoidance sensors, with almost half, 42%, voting for that feature. I'll put the rest of the results in the comments section below. Now, as I said earlier, lots of people are using their Mini 2 drone to take some awesome shots for Instagram. I've made a couple of videos that have been really popular, so if you're looking to use your Mini 2 to take some banger Instagram pics, check out the videos on the screen now. Cheers guys, and I'll see you in the next video.